Assalamualaikum and good evening. You're now with me, Yusuf Chukri, for TVS Nightline. We begin with this story. The conferment of the Order of the Rising Sun, Gold and Silver Star by the Japanese government is not merely a personal honour but also a recognition of Sarawak's achievement, says Premier Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng. The award also reflects the success of the state's policies and direction in advancing the sustainable energy and low-carbon development agenda in the region.
Dan ini adalah anugerah bukan untuk saya tetapi untuk negeri Sarawak, di mana dunia telah mengiktiraf dasar-dasar yang telah dibawa oleh Sarawak. Khasnya dalam sektor tenaga, di mana kita telah menekankan sektor hidrogen dan juga tenaga yang boleh diperbaharui, di mana Jepun adalah rakan kita dalam kita meneroka teknologi baru, termasuklah yang dibawa oleh Mitsubishi bersama dengan syarikat ada sebuah lagi syarikat di mana kita kerjasama. Ini perkara pertama. Perkara kedua ialah pembawaan kita untuk membangunkan kawasan tenaga hijau dan juga low carbon footprint. Dan kita mempunyai dasar carbon blueprint yang telah diterap oleh pihak Jepun juga.
The Premier added that Sarawak has been prioritizing the development of the hydrogen sector, with Japan as a key partner in this field. Earlier, the Japanese embassy announced that Abang Johari was among the recipients of the Autumn Imperial Decorations 2025, awarded by the government of Japan. The honor was bestowed in recognition of his outstanding contributions in strengthening ties between Japan and Malaysia, particularly through promoting regional exchange and mutual understanding. Several cooperations include renewable energy sector, education, climate change, and youth exchange programs. Meanwhile, Premier Abang Johari announced that Sarawak will focus on 4 key development frontiers by 2035 to strengthen the state's green and high-tech economy. The 4 frontiers, he said, are renewable energy, low-carbon gas, carbon capture, utilization and storage, CCUS, and the semiconductor industry.
Dan saya tadi pun ada tekankan kepada graduan mengenai dengan 4 frontier yang saya akan tekankan, kerajaan akan tekankan hingga tahun 2035, iaitu 1, renewable energy, keduanya mengenai dengan gas dan low carbon gas, low carbon methane, dan kita crackkan gas ini untuk bahan-bahan yang mesra. Ketiganya ialah mengenai dengan frontier CCUS, penyimpanan karbon. Ini termasuk carbon sink yang dihisap oleh pokok-pokok kita. Dan kita telah menurunkan penebangan pokok dan kita membuat galakan untuk menanam pokok semula. Dan pokok ini adalah melalui fast growing trees, di mana diterap oleh Jepun, dan kita bekerjasama dengan Jepun dalam kita menanam semula pokok ini. Dan apa yang berlaku ialah pokok ini menjadi stok untuk biomas. Dan ini adalah satu pendekatan kita dari negeri Sarawak. Dan akhir sekali ialah semiconductor, iaitu chip dan juga teknologi yang terkini untuk kita menambah nilai bahan-bahan mentah yang ada di Sarawak.
Now, the Sarawak Biodiversity Centre, SBC, hosted its annual dinner tonight, celebrating a major step forward with the signing of a benefit-sharing agreement for the ENGKERABAI project. And for those who don't know, ENGKERABAI is a fruit found in Sarawak, commonly used by the Ibans to dye textile. And to understand what the project is about, Lorenzo Isaac, who is on the field right now at UCSI Hotel, has the details. Lorenzo, take it away.
Alright, thank you, Yusuf. The Sarawak Biodiversity Centre, or SBC, tonight has signed its fourth benefit sharing agreement, this time focusing on the ENGKERABAI project involving 5 Iban communities across the central region of Sarawak. The ENGKERABAI, scientifically known as Psychotria viridiflora, is a small tree from the Rubiaceae family found in mixed dipterocarp and peat swamp forests. It has long been valued by the Iban people for its deep cultural and medicinal significance, traditionally used in steam baths to reduce fever, treat minor wounds, and even as a natural red dye for the sacred Wak Kumbu textile. Under this agreement, communities from Rumah Bajau in Julau, Rumah Lembang in Pakan, Rumah Macuk in Betong, Karangan Emong in Lubuk Antu, and Kampung Rapat Tepus in Surat Aman will share in the benefits when ENGKERABAI-based products reach the market. SBC researchers have also discovered that ENGKERABAI contains properties suitable for cosmeceutical and pharmaceutical application, meaning it could soon be used in wellness and skincare products developed right here in the state. In his speech, the Minister of Education, Innovation and Talent Development, Dr. Sri Walan Sagawi In, said the agreement reflects Sarawak's success in integrating indigenous knowledge with modern science. He said it ensures communities are rightfully acknowledged and compensated while strengthening Sarawak's leadership under the Nagoya Protocol on Access and Benefit Sharing. The ENGKERABAI project follows previous benefit sharing deals under the Andanosara, Madusara and Litsara product lines, reaffirming the state's growing bioeconomy built on sustainability, respect and innovation. Alright, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you, Yusuf. This is Lorenzo Isaac, TVS News Kuching. Get back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Lorenzo, for the report. Now, police in Cebu have arrested a local man in connection with a human trafficking case involving a 36-year-old victim who was deceived into working at an online scam syndicate in Cambodia. Cebu District Police Chief Zulkifli Suhaili says the victim, a Chinese man from Cebu, was allegedly tricked by an acquaintance who promised him a job opportunity abroad. While in Cambodia, the victim was reportedly subjected to severe abuse, including beatings and electric shocks. Zulkifli said the victim was eventually rescued and safely returned to Cebu yesterday before lodging a police report. Following the report, police swung into action and detained a suspect to assist investigations under Section 12 of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act, or ATIPSOM. He said the 31-year-old suspect was brought to the court this morning and placed under a 7-day remand order to facilitate further investigation. Police are continuing efforts to identify and track down other individuals believed to be involved in the case. On to our next update. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim is urging private companies and business entities to give serious attention to workers' welfare in line with the profits they earn. Anwar emphasizes that the success of any organization is meaningless if it is measured solely by profits while neglecting the well-being of its workforce.
Tanggungjawab sama menurut tanggungjawab mengingatkan bahawa sementara catat keuntungan, apa kebajikan rakyat, apa kebajikan pekerjanya, apa kemudahan yang mereka peroleh, bagaimana tentang kalangan sekitar kita yang paling miskin dan memerlukan bantuan dan pertolongan.
Anwar also says it is unfair for companies to gain huge profits but leave the responsibility of workers and people's welfare entirely to the government. This, he adds, is part of the human-centered development that the government wishes to emphasize to large conglomerates. Meanwhile, during the parliament sitting, Anwar announced that the government has agreed to increase the limit for the Budi 95 subsidy to all full-time e-hailing drivers, capping at 800 litres. However, the implementation will be dependent on the conclusion of a study being conducted on the current 600 litres limit.
Jadi kita sekarang mengkaji kalau betul ada rekod dan keperluan, maka kerajaan, saya nak umumkan di sini, bersetuju meningkatkan had kelayakan Budi 95 bagi pemandu e-hailing yang layak kepada sehingga 800 liter sebulan. Ya. Maknanya 5,000 kilometer. Ya, 5,000 kilometer tertakluk kepada syarat perjalanan yang ditetapkan.
In addition, the government has also agreed to include airport taxi drivers as Budi 95 recipients under the subsidized petrol control scheme SKPS. The death toll from a week of flooding and record rains in central Vietnam rose to 40 today as another powerful storm bore down on the battered region. Vietnam's central belt has been deluged by torrential rains, turning streets into canals, bursting riverbanks and inundating some of the country's most visited historic sites. Up to 1.7 meters of rain fell over one 24-hour period in a downpour, breaking national records. The fatalities occurred in Hue, Da Nang, Lam Dong and Quang Tri provinces, and 6 people remain missing. The onslaught of extreme weather is set to continue, with Typhoon Kalmegi forecast to make landfall in the early hours of Friday morning. Vietnam is prone to heavy rains between June and September, but scientific evidence has identified a pattern of human-driven climate change, making extreme weather more frequent and destructive. 10 typhoons or tropical storms usually affect Vietnam directly or offshore in a given year, but Typhoon Kalmegi is set to be the 13th of 2025. The storm is currently lashing the Philippines, where it has killed at least 26 people and displaced hundreds of thousands. It could hit Vietnam's coast with winds of up to 166 kilometers per hour as it approaches on Thursday. Today, the region was reeling from the past week's extreme weather, with some remote areas still isolated by road-blocking landslides. Nearly 80,000 houses remain flooded, while more than 10,000 hectares of crops have been destroyed and more than 68,000 cattle killed. Now, at the end of October, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, at war with the Sudanese army since 2023, seized control of the strategic city of El Fasher following an 18-month siege. Reports have emerged of executions, sexual violence, looting, attacks on aid workers, and abductions in and around El Fasher, where communications remain largely cut off. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres today is calling for a halt to the fighting, warning that the crisis was rapidly deteriorating.
I call for an end to the flow of weapons and fighters into Sudan, which is making a desperate situation even worse. And finally, we need an immediate cessation of hostilities. I call both on the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces to work with my personal envoy for Sudan, Ramtan Lamamra, towards a negotiated settlement. Come to negotiating table, bring an end to this nightmare of violence now. It's time for peace. I'm also deeply concerned about the continued violations of the ceasefire in Gaza. They must stop, and all parties must abide by the decisions of the first phase of the peace agreement.
Get all the updates you need all in one app. TVS Inspire brings you live updates on events, news, and programs, available now on the Apple App Store and Google Store. And those are the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Yusuf Shukri. Thank you for watching. Good night and Assalamualaikum.